I sat in that small room with the flickering light above and watched him say the words like he was ordering lunch. We're letting you go. Found someone who'll do your job for half what we pay you. Economics. You understand. Wade had this way of talking where he'd say something cruel and then smile, like the smile would make it okay. He did it now. That same grin he used when he asked me to stay late, when he needed something fixed, when he wanted me to explain why products were arranged a certain way for the third time that month. 9 years. I'd given this place 9 years. When I started, the warehouses were a disaster. Products thrown wherever there was space. Summer items buried under winter stock in July. Suppliers threatening to stop working with us because orders kept getting messed up. Nobody wanted the inventory position because it looked impossible. I took it because I needed the job. Single mom, 2 kids, bills that didn't care about my feelings. Those first 6 months, I worked until midnight most nights. I learned every product we carried, where it came from, how fast it moved, which suppliers were reliable and which ones needed constant follow-up. I figured out that seasonal items needed to rotate through different zones based on timing. That bulk orders from certain buyers needed special handling. That some products couldn't be stored near others because of temperature or chemical reactions. I built spreadsheets that tracked everything. Not fancy, just functional. I color-coded zones in each warehouse. I created a rotation system that made sense. I negotiated with suppliers until they trusted us again. It took 2 years before everything ran smooth. After that, it just worked. Products flowed in and out, numbers balanced. Suppliers stopped complaining. The previous director used to say I made it look easy. Then Wade showed up. 2 years ago, he transferred from another location. Corporate gave him the division. He had a business degree from some university and used words like optimize and streamline in every meeting. He never asked me how the system worked, never wanted to learn the details. He just wanted reports that made him look good when he talked to his superiors. Get me the numbers for last quarter. I need a breakdown by category. Make a summary I can present. I did it. Every time. Because that was my job. But Wade had this attitude, like the work just happened by magic, like anyone could do what I did. He'd tell people at meetings, the inventory basically runs itself now. Very simple system. It wasn't simple. It was 9 years of knowledge packed into routines that looked simple because I'd made them that way. My name is Darby. I'm 41. I've worked since I was 16. I know what work is supposed to look like. You show up, you do what needs doing, you solve problems, you go home. This job meant something to me, not because I loved warehouses or inventory management, but because I'd built something that worked, because suppliers knew my name, because when something went wrong, I could fix it, because my kids had food and a place to live and Christmas presents. Wade didn't see any of that. He saw a salary line he could cut. We've already hired your replacement, he said, still smiling. Starts Monday. You've got until end of day to clear out your things and transition your duties. Transition? I said. To who? You said he starts Monday. Today is Thursday. Write down what he needs to know. Shouldn't take long. You've always said the system is straightforward. I never said that. He said that. But arguing wouldn't change anything. Wade had already decided, probably weeks ago. This conversation was just a formality. Fine, I said. His smile faltered. I think he expected me to beg, to cry maybe, to ask for another chance. I didn't give him that. I walked back to my workspace. Not an office, just an area with a chair and some shelving, where I kept binders full of supplier contacts, seasonal schedules, product specifications, 9 years of information that couldn't be written down in an afternoon. But I tried. I pulled out a notebook and started writing. Supplier names, phone numbers, which ones needed orders placed 3 weeks early, which ones ran late and needed buffer time, which products had special storage requirements, which buyers were difficult, how to handle the rotation system, when to start moving seasonal products, how to read the reports I'd built. 4 pages in, I realized how pointless this was. The person replacing me wouldn't understand any of this without context, without seeing how it worked in real time, without making the mistakes and learning from them like I did. Wade walked by once. How's it coming? It's coming. He nodded and left. Nobody else said anything. A few people glanced at me. They knew. Word spreads fast in a place like this. But nobody wanted to get involved. Everybody had bills, Everybody needed their job. I understood that. Around 3, I finished writing what I could. I packed my personal items into a box. A coffee mug my daughter made in art class 6 years ago. A sweater I kept here for when the warehouses got cold. Some photos. A plant that somehow survived despite minimal sunlight. Not much to show for 9 years. I thought about the director, Hugh. He'd been with the company for 23 years. Ran 5 regions. Oversaw maybe 200 employees. Wade reported to someone who reported to Hugh, so they'd never actually met. But Hugh and I knew each other. It started 5 years back. One of the new hires got caught stealing. Kid was 19. Director's nephew. Someone's son who needed a summer job and thought he could pocket some merchandise without anyone noticing. Everyone found out. Hugh found out. There was a meeting. Loss prevention wanted to prosecute. Make an example. Show that nobody gets special treatment. They asked me what I thought. I was a supervisor then, before I moved fully into inventory management. I looked at this kid. Scared. Stupid. Young. He's 19, I said. Give him counseling. Make him pay it back. But don't ruin his life over this. The room went quiet. Everyone expected me to agree with prosecution. Hugh's own nephew. Hugh looked at me for a long moment. Then he nodded. Do it that way, he said. The kid paid back what he stole. Did counseling. Finished the summer. Never stole again. Last I heard, he was in college doing well. After that, Hugh started checking in with me. Every few months, we'd meet for breakfast at this place near the main warehouse. Nothing fancy, just eggs and toast and coffee. He'd ask how things were going. Not just work, life, my kids, problems I was dealing with. Other people thought it was weird. Why would a regional director have breakfast with an inventory manager? But Hugh wasn't like that. He remembered that I'd shown his nephew mercy when nobody else would. He valued that. We had breakfast scheduled for today, 4 o'clock. We always did late afternoon because his mornings were packed with meetings. I looked at the clock, 3:15. Should I tell him I got fired? Or just cancel? I decided to go home. I'd text him later, explain what happened. He'd understand. He might even put in a word for me somewhere else in the company. I carried my box through the building, past people working, past the break area where I'd eaten lunch for 9 years, past the bulletin board with safety reminders and birthday announcements. Wade wasn't around when I left, probably in a meeting, taking credit for cutting costs. I loaded the box into my car and drove home. 20-minute drive through traffic. Same route I'd taken thousands of times. I didn't cry. Didn't feel angry, exactly. Just empty. Like something had been carved out, and I was supposed to keep moving anyway. At home, I put the box down, made tea, sat on the couch. My phone started buzzing. Hugh. I stared at it. Let it ring. He'd leave a message. It rang again. Again. On the 4th ring, I answered. Where are you? Hugh said. No greeting. His voice had an edge. We have the review in 30 minutes. Your boss keeps saying you quit. What's happening? I didn't quit, I said. Wade fired me. This morning. Said he found someone who'd work for less. Silence. I could hear Hugh breathing. Background noise. Voices. He what? Fired me. Told me to pack my things and write transition notes for my replacement. I'm looking at the schedule right now, Hugh said. His voice had changed. Colder. You're on here. Quarterly inventory review. 4 o'clock. We do this every 3 months, Darby. You've never missed one. I know. I was coming. Then Wade called me into his office and told me I was done. More silence. Then, stay near your phone. He hung up. I sat there holding my tea. It had gone lukewarm. Outside, I could hear kids playing. Someone mowing a lawn. Normal sounds. Normal day for everyone else. My phone buzzed. Text from Hugh. What's your boss's direct number? I sent it. Then I waited. 20 minutes passed. I tried not to imagine what was happening. Hugh calling Wade. Wade realizing he'd made a massive mistake. But what could Hugh do? Wade was management. He had authority to hire and fire within his division. My phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Darby, this is Pauline from HR. I'm calling about a termination that was processed today under your employee number. Can you confirm you met with Wade Brennan this morning? Yes. And he informed you of termination? Yes. Did he provide documentation? Severance information? No. He just told me to pack my things. I heard typing. I see. And did he cite performance issues? Disciplinary actions? He said they found someone cheaper. More typing. Longer this time. Okay, thank you. Someone will contact you shortly. She hung up. I felt something then. Not hope, exactly, but something. An hour later, Wade called. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. Darby. His voice sounded different. Tight, like he was forcing the words out. There's been a misunderstanding. We need you back. Immediately. I said nothing. There was a communication issue with HR. Your termination wasn't properly authorized. We need you to return tomorrow morning. When? What happened to your better candidate? I said. That fell through. Look, this was a mistake. We value your contributions. You're essential to operations. Essential. He'd never used that word before. Never used any word that suggested I mattered. The director wants the inventory reports, Wade continued. For the review. You have all the data. Nobody else can pull it together in time. Nobody else. Because he'd fired the person who knew how. I'll think about it, I said. Darby, please. I need an answer now. We have obligations. Contracts. The quarterly review is critical for regional planning. You didn't care about that this morning. I made an error in judgment. It happens. But we can fix this. Come back. We'll discuss a raise. Better benefits. Before I continue further, thank you for listening to my story. I know you could be doing anything else right now, but you're here with me. Drop a comment and let me know where you're listening from. I'd love to know this story is reaching people everywhere. Now, let me tell you what happened next. I didn't go back that day, or the next. I let Wade sit with his mistake. Hugh called me that evening. I want you to understand what's happening, he said. I didn't fire Wade. I'm not transferring him. I'm doing something else. What? Promoting him. Effective immediately. He's personally responsible for all 3 warehouses. Direct oversight. No support staff. No transition period. Every decision goes through him. Every mistake falls on him. And he needs to produce the quarterly reports you usually handle. By himself. I didn't know what to say. He told corporate anyone could do your job, Hugh continued. So now he gets to prove it. He wanted to cut costs? Fine. He can manage the system himself and save your salary. Hugh, that system took me 9 years to build. He doesn't know how it works. I know. He's about to learn that. What about the warehouses? The operations? They'll survive. Might get messy for a while. But Wade made a decision that affects my region. He eliminated someone critical without consulting me, without understanding what he was losing. That has consequences. After Hugh hung up, I felt strange. Not happy. Exactly. Not satisfied. Just aware that something had shifted. Wade called me 6 more times that night. I didn't answer. The next day, I got a call from someone at the main warehouse. Trent. He worked shipping. Hey, is this Darby? Listen, I know you're not here anymore, but we have a problem. There's a shipment of winter gear that needs to go out today, and nobody knows where it's stored. Your boss is tearing through Zone C, but I'm pretty sure that's summer inventory. It's in Zone A, I said. Back corner, yellow labels. Thank you. He's been looking for 2 hours. Trent hung up. 20 minutes later, another call. Different warehouse. Supplier delivery came in wrong. Products they didn't order. Nobody knew who to contact to fix it. I walked them through it. Then another call. And another. Wade's voice got more desperate each time. Please. Everything's chaos. Nothing's where the reports say it should be. Suppliers are calling about missed orders. The replacement you mentioned? He quit. Walked out after 4 hours. Said the job was nothing like I described. What did you describe? Data entry. Simple inventory tracking. I didn't know it was this complex. You made it look easy. That word again. Easy. You never asked how it worked, I said. You just wanted it to work. I'm asking now. Come back. Name your price. I thought about it. Going back. Taking the raise. Returning to something familiar. But I'd spent 9 years building a system for someone who didn't value it, who thought I was replaceable, who smiled while he fired me. No, I said. Darby, please. The regional review is in 2 days. Hugh is demanding full reports, supplier analyses, zone efficiency breakdowns, product movement tracking. I don't even know what half of that means. You should have learned when you had the chance. I hung up. Over the next week, I watched from a distance as everything unraveled. Friends still working there would text me updates, products getting shipped to wrong locations, seasonal items sitting in zones where they'd degrade, suppliers threatening to drop contracts because orders were chaotic. Wade was working 16-hour days trying to fix it. He'd call me at midnight, voice raw from exhaustion, begging for help. I'd answer sometimes, give him small pieces of information, enough to keep things from completely collapsing, not enough to save him. Hugh called once during that week. "You doing okay?" "Yeah. I know this situation isn't ideal. The warehouses are struggling, but Wade needs to understand what he threw away, what you built. Some people only learn through consequences. What if he doesn't figure it out? Then we'll make other arrangements. But that's not your problem anymore. You gave 9 years. You don't owe us anything else." He was right. I didn't. I started applying to other positions, different companies, different industries, places where inventory management mattered, where experience counted for something. 3 weeks after Wade fired me, I got an offer. Smaller company, manufacturing operation. They needed someone to organize their distribution system. Better pay than I'd made before. Flexible hours. Boss who asked questions and actually listened to answers. I accepted. Wade called when he found out. Someone must have told him, "You're really leaving? What am I supposed to do?" "Figure it out. Like I did 9 years ago, when nobody wanted this job." "That's different. You had time to learn." "I had time because I took it. Nobody handed me knowledge. I built it. You could have learned any time. You chose not to." He went quiet. Then, "I'm sorry. I didn't understand what you did. I thought it was just managing lists." "I know. If you come back, I'll do better. I'll learn. I'll support you properly." "Wade, you fired me. You looked me in the face and said you found someone better. You can't unfire that. You can't take back showing me exactly how much I meant to this place. It was a business decision. Everything's a business decision until it affects you personally. Now you're living with yours." I hung up, blocked his number, started my new job the following Monday. I heard later that Wade lasted another month before Hugh finally removed him. Not fired, transferred to a smaller location, single warehouse, no direct reports, essentially demoted while keeping his title. They brought in someone new to run the division, someone who understood operations, who spent the first month just learning the system I'd built, talking to suppliers, understanding why things were arranged certain ways. That person called me once. "I'm trying to untangle what's here. Your notes help, but there's so much institutional knowledge that's just gone. How did you keep all this in your head?" 9 years of showing up, I said. 9 years of showing up. 9 years of fixing problems nobody else wanted to touch. 9 years of learning what worked and what didn't. She thanked me, said if I ever wanted to consult, they'd pay well. I told her I'd think about it, but I didn't want to go back. Not even as a consultant. That chapter was done. My new job felt different from day one. The owner, a woman named Bree, walked me through the facility personally, showed me every area, introduced me to every person, asked me what I needed to succeed. "Time," I said. "Time to learn your products, your suppliers, your processes. This won't be instant." "I know," Bree said. "That's why we're hiring you. We need someone who understands this takes work." It was refreshing. Being treated like my knowledge mattered, like experience was valuable instead of expensive. The facility was chaos when I started. Not as bad as my old warehouses had been 9 years ago, but close. Products scattered, no clear organization system. Suppliers frustrated by constant ordering mistakes. I'd seen this before. I knew how to fix it. I started the same way I had years earlier, learning every product, talking to everyone who worked there, understanding the flow, where things came from, where they needed to go. What slowed the process down? Took me 3 months to build a working system, color-coded zones, rotation schedules, supplier relationships rebuilt, reports that actually tracked what mattered. Bree checked in regularly, not hovering, just present. "How's it going? What do you need? Any obstacles I can remove?" That's what good management looked like. Someone who understood that helping employees succeed was how you succeeded. Meanwhile, I heard stories from my old workplace, through friends still there, through industry contacts, through the occasional message from someone who had my number. The new division manager was struggling, not because he was incompetent, but because rebuilding what I'd spent 9 years creating was nearly impossible. The institutional knowledge was gone. The supplier relationships had been damaged during Wade's chaotic month. Trust took years to build and moments to destroy. Products were moving again. Orders were getting filled, but it wasn't smooth. It wasn't efficient. It was functional at best. One of my old supplier contacts called me, guy named Roland. I'd worked with him for 7 years. He provided seasonal merchandise, outdoor equipment, camping gear, holiday decorations. Your old company keeps messing up orders, he said. Wrong quantities, wrong timing. I've tried working with their new person, but it's not the same. Any chance you'd consider coming back? I'm not going back there, Roland. What if I move my contract to wherever you are now? Would your new company be interested in seasonal merchandise? I thought about it, talked to Bree. She was interested. We worked out an arrangement. Roland shifted a portion of his business to us. Then another supplier did the same, and another. Within 6 months, my new company had picked up 4 major suppliers who'd previously worked with my old employer. Not because I asked them to switch, but because they valued reliability. They valued relationships, and those relationships had been with me, not with the company. Hugh called me around that time. You're stealing our suppliers. I'm not stealing anyone. They're making business decisions, just like Wade did when he fired me. Hugh laughed. Actually laughed. Fair point. How's the new place treating you? Better. Good. You deserved better than what happened. I'm sorry it took Wade's stupidity for you to find it. You could have stopped him. I could have, but you would have stayed in a place that didn't value you. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to us is the push we need towards something better. He wasn't wrong. I'd been comfortable at my old job. Not happy, not fulfilled, just comfortable, familiar. I probably would have stayed another 9 years, building systems for people who didn't appreciate them. Getting fired hurt, but it freed me. My kids noticed the difference. Not just the better pay, though that helped, but my mood, my energy. My daughter Riley said it one night at dinner. You seem lighter, Mom. Lighter. Like something heavy isn't sitting on you anymore. She was 14. Too perceptive for her own good. But she was right. I'd been carrying weight for years. The weight of being undervalued, of working harder to prove I deserved to stay, of making someone else look good while staying invisible myself. That weight was gone now. Work became something I did instead of something that drained me. I solved problems, built systems, trained new employees properly, had conversations with management where my input mattered. About 8 months after I started my new job, Bree called me into her office. We're expanding, opening a second facility across town. I want you to oversee inventory for both locations. Build the new system from the ground up. Train someone to help you manage it. It was a promotion. More responsibility. More money. More recognition. I'm in, I said. You don't want to think about it. I've been thinking about it since I walked in here. This is exactly what I want to do. Building the second facility system was satisfying in ways I couldn't fully explain. Like creating something from nothing. Knowing it would work because I understood what made systems work. I hired an assistant, young guy named Carlos, 23, eager to learn, asked questions constantly, wanted to understand not just what to do but why. Training him reminded me of training myself 9 years earlier, showing him how products moved, why certain items needed specific storage, how to read supplier patterns, when to anticipate problems before they happened. He absorbed everything, took notes, made mistakes, and learned from them. Within 6 months, he was handling daily operations while I focused on bigger picture planning. That's what succession should look like. Not firing someone and hoping their replacement figures it out, but deliberately building knowledge, passing it on, creating systems that survived beyond one person. My old workplace never called me again after that first conversation with the new division manager. I heard through the grapevine that they'd stabilized. Not great, not back to what it was, but functional enough to keep operating. Wade disappeared from my radar entirely. I didn't ask about him, didn't look him up, didn't care. Some people thought I should feel triumphant, like I'd won something, but it didn't feel like winning. It felt like moving forward, like leaving behind something that didn't serve me and finding something that did. One afternoon, about a year after I'd been fired, I was in the new facility checking a shipment when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me. Darby? This is Glenn. I don't know if you remember me. I worked in receiving at your old job, Zone B warehouse. I remember. How are you? I'm okay. Listen, I'm calling because I'm leaving the company. Found something else. And I wanted to thank you before I go. Thank me? You probably don't remember, but 3 years ago, I made a huge mistake. Mixed up 2 shipments. Cost the company thousands. I thought I'd be fired. You came and found me in the loading area. I was panicking. You said, mistakes happen. Let's fix it. You stayed 4 hours after your shift helping me sort it out. You never told anyone it was my fault. You took responsibility in the report. I did remember. Vaguely. It had seemed like the right thing to do at the time. Glenn was a good worker. One mistake didn't define him. You didn't need to call, I said. But I appreciate it. I needed to. Because when you got fired, I felt sick. We all did. You'd helped so many of us over the years. Fixed our problems. Covered our mistakes. Taught us how to do things right. And the company just threw you away like you were nothing. Glenn, let me finish. I wanted you to know that we noticed. We remembered. And I'm not the only one who's left since then. A lot of people have. Because if they could do that to you, they could do it to anyone. You showed us how we deserve to be treated. And when they treated you like that, it opened our eyes. After Glenn hung up, I sat in my car for a while, thinking about what he'd said. I'd never considered that my firing affected other people, that it sent a message beyond just me losing a job, that it showed everyone else exactly how much loyalty meant to that company. Over the next few months, I heard similar stories, people reaching out, thanking me, telling me they'd moved on to better situations. Some had taken positions at my new company. Others had found different paths entirely. It was strange. Being fired had felt like an ending, like failure, but it had actually been a catalyst, for me, for others, for change that needed to happen anyway. Bree mentioned it once. You know, we've hired 5 people from your old company in the past year. They all say the same thing, that you showed them what good work looked like, that they wanted to work somewhere that valued that. I didn't know what to say to that. You built more than an inventory system at that place, Bree continued. You built a standard. People saw how you worked, how you treated them, and when the company failed to meet that standard, they left. That's leadership, Darby, whether you meant it to be or not. Leadership. I'd never thought of myself that way. I was just someone who showed up and did the work, who helped when people needed help, who tried to do things right. But maybe that was leadership, not titles or authority, just consistency, integrity, treating people like they mattered.